Have you ever sat through a movie, watched the entire credits just to watch the outtakes? They're funny, right? It's something that provides a lot of entertainment, and it's something that I'm glad that they include in there. And while that laughter is something that is very, very good for your health, it's very good for your stress relief, there are other benefits to it. But I want to give you a little bit of backstory first. So, if you look at every one of those actors, they've gone through their entire career and they've worked their way up. They started in some place as a small role player, and then they've gotten bigger and bigger roles as they've gone, and they get to this place of being on top of the mountain, and everybody like looks at the movie and they love the movie, and they're like, this person is awesome. If there is another movie with this person, I'm gonna go and see it. Like, they get paid millions and millions of dollars for every movie because everybody's gonna go see that movie. The thing that strikes me about those outtakes is we look at them as humorous, but we don't look at them for what they are. They're the mistakes, right? Even the people at the top of their game, even the people that are getting paid millions and millions of dollars for every movie they make, are making mistakes throughout the movie. And the ones that you see at the end are just a small portion of those. What do they go through the entire time that they're making the movie? The director sits there and he's like, all right, we're going to do this scene and go. And they go through it and they do it. And the director's like, it just didn't come across right. We need to change this and this and this. And ready, go. They reshoot the scene. They go through it. And he's like, man, something's just not quite right. We need to try and tweak this, and then maybe at the end try this. Ready, go. And they do it over and over again. They make mistakes throughout the entire process. They're constantly making mistakes. But what happens in the end? They take those best cuts. They take the best outcomes from that, and they put them out into the public. Have you ever thought about that? Now, I've struggled throughout my career at times being afraid to make mistakes, and I don't know, it's obviously something that you don't want to make mistakes, but the things that I have grown the most are the areas that I've had some sort of setback, whether it's a personal injury that has allowed me to kind of mess around with things to figure out exactly where the pain was coming from, that's helped me with other patients, or missing something on an exam. It's made me remember it for a long period of time, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of things that we actually get from failure if we take the opportunity to learn from it. And I know that this is kind of an odd topic for stress relief and health, but what is the worst outcome if you try something and it doesn't work? In most cases, you start over, right? If you do some sort of simple therapy, it's probably not going to kill you. It's probably not going to hurt you. But there are obviously limitations to this. We don't want to get crazy on things. But there's going to be mistakes that we make, things that work well. Let's go back to another example of when I was having trouble sleeping a couple years ago. I researched everything about sleep. I researched so much on sleep because I was literally getting like 15 minutes of deep sleep, 15 minutes of REM sleep a night. Should be getting a minimum of like an hour and a half a night on each of those. So I was in kind of a rough spot. I was having headaches every single day. I wasn't enjoying the things that I stereotypically enjoy. Work was among those, and it took a toll on a lot of things: work, family, my health. So I was willing to do whatever, right? So I researched, and somebody's like, this will help you with your sleep. All right, I'll try it. And it may or may not have worked. If it worked, I kept it in the routine. If it didn't work, I took it out of the routine. I tried something else. And I tried, and I mixed and I matched. And over that course of time, I found a lot of things that work for me. I know that those other things have worked for other people. So does that make them wrong in and of themselves? No, they weren't the wrong things. But they're the wrong things for me. They weren't what I needed to improve my sleep. And that's where a lot of us are, is we go through life and we're listening to these other people, and they're like, you need to do this, or you need to do that, or maybe try this. And we either try it and it doesn't work, and we're like, that doesn't work, I'm not going to listen to anybody. Have you ever heard that? I know in my profession, I know a lot of people that went to a chiropractor one time and it didn't work for them. Yeah, chiropractic doesn't work. It's the same as going and buying a lottery ticket and not winning. Yeah, lottery doesn't work. I mean, nobody wins. Didn't win on my first try. Yeah, the odds are like 1 in a trillion, right? It might not work for you on the first try. It still does work for some people. I still don't think it's the greatest plan to go about building wealth, but it does work for certain people, right? So just because something doesn't work one time doesn't mean it's not right for you. Just because you make one change and that doesn't work doesn't mean that change isn't going to work for you. We've got to mix and match. We've got to be willing to make those mistakes. And if you're willing to make those mistakes, you can start to move forward. And as you start to move forward, that's where health lies, right? Because we get more excited about it. We get that momentum built. And when we have momentum in one part of our life, it leads to momentum in another part of your life. Have you ever worked out and you've done really well on getting into a little bit better shape? You start losing a little bit of weight and you're like, this is awesome. I'm going to start eating a little bit better. So you start eating a little bit better. And when you start eating a little bit better and you're working out, your clothes start feeling better, you start sleeping better, you start feeling better, you start doing all these other things that you didn't do before. It all goes together because when we can build momentum in one area, we can build momentum throughout our life. That is health. That's the place that we need to be. And unfortunately, it's not the place that most people are. Where most people are is the exact opposite. They've gotten frustrated in this one area of their life, and that frustration has led into another area and another area. And now they're treading water. They're trying to keep their head above the water, and they can't do it. They're getting frustrated. They're ready to give up because that water's ready to overtake them because they're not moving forward toward anything. We've got to be willing to make mistakes. We've got to be willing to try different things. Even the best in the industries that pay millions and millions of dollars, people that you go to watch on a regular basis make mistakes, and they make a lot of them, and it's okay. And that's kind of what I took out of watching Outtakes the other day. So I hope that this helps you. I know I find a lot of inspiration and I think about things in a lot different way than I used to. And even going through everyday life and doing, the most random things, I'm like, man, that makes a lot of sense. Why hadn't I thought of that before? And this is one of those things. Those outtakes are mistakes, but they're put in there because they're hilarious. They're good mistakes, right? They add to the movie. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in there. So what are you doing in your life that you look at as, hey, I'm making mistakes and I don't want to make mistakes, but it's adding to your life. You're learning, you're moving forward, you're doing better because of it. Look for those areas. What other areas can you expand that to? What other areas can you try new things that are going to either lead you forward or lead you forward through learning? Examine your life a little bit and come up with something on that. But I hope that this video is helpful. Like I said, this is something that really made me, look inward a little bit and kind of figure out, what areas am I afraid to make the mistakes? What areas am I doing well at, and what can I take from that? So if it is helpful, like it, share it. It gives me good information on what is working for you guys, what type of information you want. And if I have that, I can make more of that material. So I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a phenomenal week, and I will catch you on the next video.